I'm making this video as a response to a viewer request and because I thought it would be a nice way to round out the year. Now that request mentions a video from Teddy. I've gone out of my way not to watch that, so if there are any repeats here from his video, I promise it is coincidence. I've tweaked the request slightly though, because my usual $1,000 stipulation is actually really difficult to meet here. With the cost of everything increasing, only featuring new models from 2024 seriously limits the choice on offer. So I thought it'd be helpful to make a slight but year appropriate adjustment just as a one-off. I'd also like to take a moment to thank you all for watching. Whether this is the first video you've seen from me or one of many, this has been a great year for the channel. Back on the 1st of January, I only had a handful of videos and around 500 subscribers. The progress since then has been amazing, and I've really enjoyed striving to make better and better content. It's not always popular, it's not always successful, but the key part is I always enjoy doing it. With that thank you said and done, let's have a little look at the rule set I'll be following for this video. First of all, the watch must have released in 2024. It can be a new model in an existing range though. Secondly, it has to be available for less than $2,024. And finally, for the sake of variety, only one model per brand is allowed. With all that said, let's get into the video. Now, I'm sure if you're even a semi-regular browser of horological YouTube, you will have come across the story of the Bulova lunar pilot, a watch that went to the surface of the moon. But I'm not going to repeat that here. The thing is, that watch has always been too big for most wrists to pull off. And even the newer, smaller variant is still pretty hefty and has a diagonal date window to it that I'm also not a fan of. The Racer Chronograph is a really nice new addition to the Bulova lineup that's a little bit smaller still at 42mm in diameter, has the same 262 frequency high performance quartz movement powering it, and also shares a lot of the same design language. It has a horizontal date window at 6 o'clock instead of the diagonal one. It doesn't quite have the same lunar pedigree, but I do think it's a really punchy offering from the brand that is a strong alternative to its stablemate. It's still too big for me personally, but it's definitely a step in the right direction. Casio are pretty unusual as far as budget brands goes, because they tend to adopt the position that if it's not broke, don't fix it with their models. So you might get new colorways or materials, but their classic range are always in production year on year, decade on decade. That isn't quite true though for their first ever offering. And so this limited edition run gives collectors an opportunity to own a recreation of the first wristwatch that Casio ever produced. Having said that, it isn't a one-for-one likeness, coming in a little slimmer and with updated modern technologies like radio controlled time setting, Bluetooth connectivity and solar power. I think in terms of sheer popularity alone, this watch deserves a place on the list. I remember distinctly receiving the email as I was sat at my PC advertising this model. Opening the email, I was thinking, my word, that is a lot for a Timex model. I wonder who the collab is with. By the time I then clicked on the link to investigate, the watches were already all sold. The James brand are quite a popular everyday carry tool company, and when I looked them up, I felt a bit sad that nothing in my life is adventurous enough to need any of what they sell apart from this watch. It's a Miyota powered automatic GMT housed in a titanium case and bracelet. So the thing is, yes, this might be a lot of money for a Timex, but there's also a pretty strong argument to be made that this is actually the best watch that they make. Since its initial release back in 2021, the PRX has seen a number of different variations. We've seen gradient dials, smaller sizes, a chronograph, and the Marmite digital release. This carbon variation is the first that I think is a genuine upgrade though. As the name might suggest, the dial and case are made from forged carbon. This does a couple of things for the model. It means that each watch effectively becomes a piece unique, as the patterning for each model will be entirely individual. Crucially though, that carbon construction also means a significant weight saving. The standard 40mm PRX on a bracelet that I used to own comes in at 140 grams. This carbon model on a rubber band, on the other hand, with the exact same movement in it, weighs in at only 75. That weight saving is going to make the on-wrist experience much more comfortable. Plus, I'm a sucker for the all-black aesthetic. To commemorate the 60th anniversary of their first ever dive models release, the Calendar Auto Orient, Orient Star have put out the 1964 V2 in titanium as a limited run of 365 pieces. The titanium construction makes the watch noticeably lighter on wrist than its stainless steel sibling. It weighs approximately 35% less, and the gold tone added to the hands, indices and bezels put me in mind of the Black Bay 54. Black, white and gold is a strong colour combination when you want to make your watch feel premium, and it's not the last time it will feature on this list. As a material, titanium is already naturally resistant to seawater, sweat and corrosion, as well as having some hypoallergenic properties. However, this model has also been treated with a protective coating to make the metal more scratch and knock resistant too. The power reserve indicator is not only a premium feature, but its placement at 12 o'clock is a signature of the Orient Star brand. Yet another, and forgive me, not the last, limited edition run model to feature on the list. This one is actually genuinely limited though, with only 50 pieces of each of the three styles being made, but this was still available at the time of writing. This is, as I mentioned, a trio of watches designed to fully show off what Shinola are capable of. I think the pick of the bunch though is the red variant, which features a mother of pearl dial overlaid in that deep red colour, which is something I've not seen done before, but really stands out and grabs your attention. While Shinola are a proudly US based brand, this does boast a Swiss movement at this price point, with the Sellita SW200-1 displayed through the exhibition caseback. I've always been a big fan of the Citizen Series 8 range. Alongside the Bulova Oceanographer, it's a range that I love, but just don't have a big enough wrist to actually pull off. I think I could potentially get away with this one at 41mm, at least that's what I want to tell myself. This again is a limited run of 2,200 pieces, and it's a celebration of the first 100 years of Citizen branding. It has a Batgirl style bezel coloration, but this has been expanded across the watch, with the center links also providing a contrast blue. That I'm sure will be Marmite to some people, but colour is an unusual feature for a watch bracelet, so at the very least I applaud them stepping outside of the box. The real appeal though is another mother of pearl dial, which has been finished with a light blue gradation that really pops. This year, Nomos released a series of 6 watches to commemorate 75 years of basic German law being established. This is key information for this particular model as it explains the print work below 6 o'clock and the emblem just above. The Ludwig 33 features the in-house alpha caliber movement that's been calibrated here to operate according to the expected standards of a chronometer grade piece. There may be some of you who are put off by the small diameter sizing, but the elongated lugs means that this wears larger than that might indicate. One surefire sign of the refinement on display here is the thickness of this dress piece. 6.6mm is extremely impressive. Those dimensions in combination with the sleek Bauhaus design and the small second subdial make for a really classy piece. The downside is that it is a limited run, only 75 were made. It has been a really strong year for the Trident range from Christopher Ward, first with the GMT 300 models and then this, the Lumiere. You can just about get one on a rubber strap under the price point for the video, but for clarity, buying one on a bracelet will sail well over the $2,024 price point. The spec sheet is incredible. A COSC certified SW300-1 movement from Sellita, titanium construction on the case, helium release valve and anti-reflective sapphire crystal. And the funny part of it is that none of that matters. If you're buying this watch, it's for the 3D dial elements. The hands, branding and indices are made from Globalite XP, a ceramic material infused with what can only be described as an extreme amount of lume. It gives this model a completely unique aesthetic that makes it stand out, night or day. Pushing as close to the $2,024 price point as I possibly can with this release from Seiko. The star of the show with this model is the Urushi lacquer dial. Urushi is a traditional Japanese lacquer which is made using the sap from the Toxicodendron verniciflume tree. This is a process that's been handed down through the generations in the East for thousands of years and is overseen in this case by master craftsman Isshu Tamura. This model in particular is designed to embody the elegance of the Kanazawa lacquerware, and the colour combination of gold, black and white really emphasises the premium feel of the piece. Grand Seiko are often highly praised for their dial work, and maybe it's easy to overlook what Seiko themselves offer, as there is some truly impressive work going on at both brands. So there we have it. What I believe to be the 10 best watches released in 2024 that cost less than $2,024 to purchase. As this is a channel primarily focused on budget pieces, you'll see I've taken full advantage of the extra funds available for browsing in this video. So apologies for the fact that not many of the models fall below the usual $1,000 mark. Let me know your thoughts on my list in the comment section down below. Are there any deserving models that you think I've missed out, or any that you've had experience with that you don't think belong here? Let's discuss. As ever, thank you for your time. If you've enjoyed what you've seen or found it informative, consider dropping the video a like and subscribing for more content like this in future.